the test on Monday, then we would spend some time today and tomorrow reviewing chapter 3. But since we're going to postpone it till Wednesday, I'm going to go farther on the 4-part writing today and tomorrow, and then we'll spend Monday and Tuesday reviewing, take the test on Wednesday, and then we'll go from there.
Is this 4-part stuff going to be on the test?
Yep. And if it would have been on Monday, it would have been just on this part. But now, since we have more time, I'm going to add a couple more rules. So, next rule, and Stephanie, I hope you don't get motion sickness, but we're moving you. All right. And I'm going to move her over to here so she can read the board, and you guys can still read the board as well. Okay. All right, so the next rule that Bach used then, rule number 2. And rule number 2 is, I'll label it. Rule number 2 has to do with repeated chords. So if I have a G chord and I repeat and do another G chord, or I have a C chord and I have 2 C chords in a row. When you have repeated chords, when you have repeated chords, that should be a D. You have the option of moving from open position to closed, or vice versa, from closed to open. So what happens? All top 3 voices, meaning your soprano, alto, and tenor, bless you, may leap, and that's one of the things that, remember, rule number 1 said stepwise motion. Rule number 2 now, we get to leap in the same direction. Again.
And in the same interval?
No. They have to leap, though, in the same direction. So, if one voice leaps, so must the remaining 2 voices. Yep, if one goes, they all go. However, there's a second option. The second option is I'll put this down as option 2. With option 2, the alto holds the same note and the soprano and tenor swap notes. If you like the word trade better, you can write that down. So, get out of Stephanie's way so she can read that a little bit better. Yeah.
I don't understand how Bach is making rules. Because, I mean, you're composing your own music, so you can write it how you want.
Right, but remember, these are the things that as Bach was composing hours worth of music, he realized,
He knows that they're the same.
he noticed that there was a pattern. And the pattern worked. And so we call them rules because these are the things that he did on a consistent basis to write good sounding music. Writing, not only was it good, but it was singable and it was playable. Because again, remember, those church musicians had one day to learn that music and play it and perform it. And if they didn't do a nice job, well, not only did would have he lost his job, but so would have the church musicians. And again, to reemphasize, how many other church jobs are there in that one town? None. So you would have to uproot your family and try and find another job. And remember, you couldn't just go to the next town and expect to take over that church musician's job, because that person might have been doing a decent job. So they aren't going to kick him or her out. Right. Most of the time, in those days, it was a him, it wasn't a her. So I'm not being sexist, that's just the way life was. I mean, remember how many children Bach had.
He wrote the music and he just found regularities that
Right.
worked out.
He did that stuff. He wrote them like this without even thinking about it.
Correct.
And then he looked back and he was like, oh.
Right.
And then he started doing it.
Right.
And if he was fired, he probably wouldn't get hired anywhere else because he was fired. So they found out he was fired.
They don't have
I was going to say, they didn't have modern technology. You remember, when they sent letters, it was by horseback, and it wasn't on a daily basis. So, yeah, so by the time word passed from one town to the next that Bach would have been fired, it would be a couple months later. Yeah.
Why they didn't just call him up.
Yeah. Why they just didn't text him right away or FaceTime him and just tell him instantly, you know, this guy got fired, blah, blah, blah.
She's in the bathroom.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, it would be like you and I doing something that we always do at our houses. And then all of a sudden after like doing it for the 500th time, you kind of go, oh, why don't I do it this way? Because it'll cut down on time. You know, and I'll give you a silly example.
I think Dustin already gave us.
I said using toilet paper.
I'll give you a better one. When I cleaned my house, it took me a little bit to discover, you know, because I used to do one bathroom, and then I would clean the bedroom that was connected with that bathroom. Then I would go and I'd wash the next bathroom, and I'd clean the bedroom that was connected with that bathroom. Now, I scrub all of the bathrooms because I've got all the cleaning supplies in my hands. So I clean all the bathrooms, then I clean all of the bedrooms, then, you know, so now I do it in a more systematic way so it doesn't take me so long.
Just like how you clean stairs and vacuum.
Right.
You don't stop at the top and go down.
Correct.
Go back to downstairs, be back in the upstairs first.
Yeah, so like I said, you're going to find a systematic way, and that's how Bach did it. So great questions and great examples, the most part. All right, so now let's apply these new rules. So let's go in the key of F. All right. Okay, so I gotta move Stephanie over to the other side of the board while you folks all copy that down.
Okay, so you guys, I want to start by doing,
Okay. So on the board we have the F chord. F, A, C, F. And I have a repeated chord. Rule 2A says all top three voices, soprano, alto, and tenor, may leap in the same direction. So if one voice leaps, so must the remaining two voices. Okay? So looking at our F chord on the board, which way do we want to leap? Do we want to leap up or do we want to leap down? We want to leap up. So what you're going to do is you're going to leap each voice up to the nearest chord tone. So when I leap from C, I have to leap either to an F or an A, which is the closest. An F. So I'm going to leap up to the F in my soprano. So I've taken care of the Fs, because I have an F in the soprano and I have an F in the bass. All right? So now my next F in the alto is going to go where? Is it going to go to the A or the C? Which is the closest? A. So my F is going to go to the A. And then the other remaining voice or note is C. So my tenor now is going to leap up to the C. No? I'll take that back, Jamie. The better way is, once we start writing more music, is how does your melody line look? Because remember, Bach was looking for a nice flowing melody line. And you also have to think of vocal practical range. If it starts to get in the upper echelon, then you're going to want to make everything leap down so it stays in vocal range.
Manny can sing that.
Okay, Lindsay.
So we could have.
Oh, sure, you can leap down, but then if I would leap down with the C, everything else has to leap down as well.
Right.
So when you first start out, you can go any direction you want. You can leap up or down. It doesn't say one way or the other. It just says that all three voices must move in the same direction. Okay. So now I have a new chord. I have my C chord. So I have C, E, G, C. And the roots are a fifth apart. So now I have to go back to rule number 1. And what does rule number 1 tell me, Dustin?
That,
When connecting
connecting to the position chords, no. The common, you keep the common tone.
Okay, where's my common tone? C is my common tone. Where is it located?
It's located at the bass, and it's also located.
Where is it?
Oh, it's the fifth. Oh, the chord before that. It's the fifth of that.
So where is it located in this chord that you see on the board? Where's another C?
Tenor.
Tenor. So I'm going to keep that common tone in the tenor.